Welcome back, Nine World Chronicles audience, and today, with great pleasure, we take a look at deities associated with plague. Seems appropriate at the time. So perhaps to understand which deity we have angered, it's important to understand which deities were connected with plague and disease. And we start with Aplu, who was a Hurrian deity associated with plague, known for either bringing the plague or, if the plague had already settled in, giving you protection from that plague. So a very important deity in that regard. His name comes from the Akkadian Aplu Enlil, meaning son of Enlil. And this name was also linked to Shamash, the Babylonian deity associated with the sun. Now, Erra or Irra is another name for this particular deity and was used as the Akkadian plague god that appeared approximately 8th century BCE. And Irra was a god who was primarily associated with mayhem and pestilence, but was also responsible for periods of political confusion. Nergal was yet a third name for this same entity or deity, and this was used by the citizens of ancient Mesopotamia, so the Akkad, the Assyrian, the Babylonian. And it was rumored that the main seat of his cult worship was the city of Cuthah. Interestingly enough, Nergal is also mentioned in the Hebrew Bible as the deity of the city of Cuthah. So we do see two completely different sacred texts, at least acknowledging the connection of this deity to that particular city. So always an interesting fact, and we do look for that third leg to consolidate that information. But as we move on, we look at Resheph, who was a Canaanite deity and may have also appeared in early Kemetic or Egyptian mythology, as well as the personification of plague and war. This deity, or the name of this deity, Resheph, also appears in the Hebrew Bible, and it's a noun that is interpreted as flame or lightning, but in other interpretations can mean burning fever, plague, or appropriately pestilence. Cuthah is the personification of sickness and death in the Sami mythology, and he ruled the land of the dead. He was known for riding on a vicious looking horse, which was particularly fearful to the Sami people, and those who did not live their lives by the natural order were condemned to live under the rule of this deity of death and disease. The Yoruba also give us a deity named Sopona, and this was a deity associated with smallpox. And as the Yoruba people took their traditions about Sopona to the New World via the transatlantic slave trade, the influence was felt even in routes. Many of these slave ships became infected with disease like smallpox, killing off most, if not all, of the intended slaves and many of the enslavers. And this was seen as the vengeance of Sopona. And this deity was so highly regarded that his worship was highly controlled by very specific priests who were in charge of the shrines of the gods. And prior to even the 20th century, people of this religious belief held that if the priests were angered, they were capable of causing smallpox outbreaks through the control of their intimate relationship with Sopona. So there I have provided you with a list of potential deities who have unleashed this plague upon us, and it is all of our job to figure out what we can do through worship and sacrifice to satisfy said deity. Thank you again for joining me here at Nine World Chronicles. Check out the links. We're going to continue talking about each of these specific gods in successive video. One line of research always leads us to the next. So please feel free to like and subscribe and watch all of our videos about mythology as we find connections between different civilization, cultures, and peoples, all told through their myths.